Typhoon in explanation.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to game day, guys. It is match day. It is a Saturday as well, which is refreshing, isn't it? Having a game on a Saturday for a change. Wow, that is amazing. It is fantastic. So, look, it is still waiting on the team news. Still no team news from Ibrox as of yet. Keep a reflection. No, that would be refreshing. The Rangers news feed, trying to see what is going on. But obviously, it is going to be an interesting, nay, fascinating team selection from Philippe Clement today, with the news brought to us yesterday. The surprise news, I think, that Danilo is going to be out and requires surgery on that knee injury of his. Also, not a surprise that Tom Lawrence is missing today. We knew that after he came off, after he was going down untouched, holding his calf muscle. Obviously, Tom is someone who is a massive concern in terms of those injuries, isn't he? You know, he's constantly seemingly, I don't know, getting an injury, recovering, coming back, and then getting yet another injury. You've got to kind of start to question Tom's future at the club. You know, if he's going to be constantly out injured, paying a substantial amount of wages to a player, no matter how good he is, if he's constantly going to be injured, is not the most sensible financial situation, really, is it? So, look, it is what it is at this moment in time. It does leave us very short front, and it does leave us very short in the midfield area. Just a quick hello to some people in the live chat. Callum C, it should be an easy 3 points today. Hopefully, Callum. Bob Steele, Bob, buddy, how you doing? Hope so, yeah. Afternoon, Gallant, love it. Shaggers, I wish, buddy, I wish. And Rangers loyalist, GP, Callum Owen, good afternoon, guys. How is you doing this afternoon? Rangers loyalist. So here we are still waiting on team news, obviously, from Ibrox. It is fast approaching. Obviously, we are on countdown to kick off now. We are looking forward to, obviously, today's game, which will be live streamed here on the channel, guys, just before 3, going live. Bringing you a watch along. So if you want to come and join us, if you haven't got access to Rangers TV to watch the game today, obviously it's a blackout, UK 3 p.m. blackout, unless you've got a VPN or some other dodgy stick or box or something like that. We all love a dodgy stick or a dodgy box. That sounds wrong. That sounds actually really bad, doesn't it? Everyone loves a dodgy box. Not quite sure on that one. Anyway, still refreshing, trying to find out what the team news is for today. Guys, I'd love to know what you think. I mean, look, realistically, I would love to see Abdallah Sima played up front. I would love to see him played for the middle. I think he's the best striker we've got on VPN loyal. Wonder what John Bennett would make of a VPN loyal, Bob. Yeah, so look, I'd love Sima to be given the opportunity to be played up front. I really would, because Sima's a quality player, isn't he? He's the best finisher at the club. He is a quality player. He really is. And I do think that, you know, at the end of the day, he is someone who, you know, is probably the best finisher. The best finisher at the club, in my opinion. You know, yes, Kamar Roof is certainly up there, but Kamar is always out injured, isn't he? And, you know, Philippe himself said yesterday that, look, it is a situation where he says that he isn't fit to start. He isn't fit to play 90 minutes yet. So it is a case of the fact that we're not going to see Kamar Roof, you know. So at the end of the day, yeah, I agree. I think it's, unfortunately, it probably is going to be Cyril Dessers. Dessers is not a striker. He's not a good option. I'd be interested to see how he'd play if he's played as part of a 2. To see if he was played up front with somebody, how that might work. Although as long as it's not Sam Lammers, okay, Lammers and Dessers, that would be just double awful, wouldn't it? Gallant Pioneer says, don't blame anyone for having a 5-sticker total rip-off if you go legit. £100 plus a month for everything. Yeah, it is. I think that's the problem. Once they make football more accessible, especially as ticket prices are so high, and then you've got travel costs and everything else that goes with it. Afternoon, Robert. How are you doing? John says, come on, Jers. Hopefully fast start today. That's what we need today, John. We need a fast start. We need a 90-minute performance. When was the last time we saw a 90-minute performance from our boys in blue? When was that? When was that? When did we last see our 90-minute performance? At the moment, it's been the odd 25 minutes here, or second half there, or, you know, with a garbage start. You know, Robert says, let's be thankful that we're playing Dundee. Agreed, Robert. And Malky says, come on, Glasgow Rangers, we are the people. Yeah, as I said on the video this morning, it's a massive week for the club, a huge week for our club. You know, with Dundee today in the league, probably the least important. Well, it's not the least important. None of the games are unimportant, because obviously keeping pace with that lot and catching up with that lot at the top of the league is key. A massive game against Betis in midweek. on Thursday night, the Europa League. A winner kind of takes all of that one. If we can win that game, we progress to the knockout stages of the Europa League. If we lose that and Sparta get a result against Aris, which I think they will, we'll be dumped into the Conference League, moving down to a third competition in a year. Pretty humiliating for a club like Rangers. Then obviously the big one next Sunday, which will be live here on the channel, guys. The Cup final, Aberdeen. A game we can't afford to lose, and a game that's going to really, I think, test out, going to really test out the mettle of these players. And I think it's going to be not a judgment for the manager, certainly not a judgment for the manager, but certainly a judgment, I think, for some of these players that, can they handle it? Can they cope with it? Because if they bottle it today, if they bottle it against, against Aberdeen again, then I'm sorry, but it's time that a lot of these guys were moved on and got rid of, because it is not acceptable to keep losing him and losing to Aberdeen. Aberdeen, if they didn't have the 4 points that we gifted them, I think that's the right word, gifted them, then they would actually be bottom of the league this season. That's how pish they actually are. But we somehow managed to contrive to give them 4 points this season with a shit display at Ibrox, thanks to Michael Beale, and then obviously a awful performance not an awful, an unlucky performance, shall we say, at Pittodrie, not getting the ball in the back of the net when we should have done, not scoring the goals we should have done, and gifting them 4 points. And we all know how they love a game against us, don't they? They love to play us. They love to, to get the points off us, and we just gifted it again. It's just not good enough at all. It really is not good enough at all. Well, guys, the team is out. I'm going to bring the team up for you in a moment, just downloading it onto the system. Let's get the team up there. Matthew Baker says in the live chat, quick look at Matthew's comment whilst I'm uploading. If we're playing with Dessers, then we're playing with 1 man short. If we're playing with Dessers and Lammers, then we're 2 men short. It's true. It's like playing with 9 men, isn't it? It's an empty jersey. It really is. And Sam Lammers is just absolute garbage. Pure, unadulterated, second-rate garbage. I won't even put second-rate, actually, down for him. Gallant asks, is Danilo going to be a big miss? It is. I think it's more his all-round work at the moment, Gallant. When I first subscribed to Rangers TV, you could see every match on it, including all first team, women's and B teams. No, these days they're Bob. No, it's all about, putting up the price. Would have been nice to have Danilo available, but he ain't exactly pulling up trees for us, says Gallant. Marky says we'll miss Danilo's pace. And here we go with the team then. So here's a hint from Robert to the team. Here is the team for today's game. Yes, the nightmare came true. It's true. Cyril Dessers will start up front. We are playing with 10 men today. So the team for today is Jack Butland in goal. Back four, James Tavernier. John Souttar. Interesting. No Connor Goldson today in the team. He's on the bench today. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Goldson on the bench. Souttar and Balogun. I'll be interested to see how that central defensive pairing goes today with Souttar alongside Balogun. Many people feeling that, those two are our best 2 natural defenders, and Souttar actually getting a chance to play on the right-hand side of defence today. So that'll be interesting to see how Souttar and Balogun play together. Barisic comes back into the team, unfortunately. I guess that's kind of, I suppose, getting some minutes into his legs ahead of Thursday, as he is the only left back able to play Thursday. I still personally would have stuck with Ridvan and his little red van. But, there we go. Goldson could be being rested for Thursday. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good statement there. Gallant says Danilo isn't much better than Dessers. He looks more agile and has better pace, but his finishing is terrible. It's not been so good this season. We've got yes, sad face for him. Does anyone else just get more angry at Beale at the season? Yes, me. I do, Gallant. Really do, buddy, because he's set this team back so far, hasn't he? Balogun has been immense so far. Balogun's been class, and that's a surprise to me, because when he was signed, I actually said, if Balogun's starting lots of games, we're in trouble. So yeah, absolutely, Robert, 100%. And then we've got a midfield, obviously, Lundstrom and Cifuentes, as I predicted, playing in front of the back 4, because what else have we got at the end of the day? Then obviously the 3 now. Here's the interesting move. No McCausland today. He's obviously resting McCausland today. So it is Cantwell in the 10 role, Matondo and Seema out wide. So it looks like Matondo will play on one wing, Seema will play on the other. That's good. It gives us 2 natural wingers again, 2 speedy guys out wide, which will be useful, because like I've said, against all these teams that come to Ibrox that want to play with the low block, which we know Dundee will come and low block today. That is, that is a fact. They will come and low block today. But it's all about when you play against the low block, one, playing quickly and having players with a pace of Matondo and Seema is going to help, given the fact that Cyril Dessers has zero pace. It's about using the width to attack, but it's also about having the attackers inside. So hopefully Cifuentes will get forward. Hopefully, obviously, Cantwell prompting around the box as well. It's about varying your points of attack against the low block. It's about keeping the opposition guessing, because if you play slow, if you play with no width, it just gives them a constant chance to reset, block, reset, block, reset, block, and you can't get through them. And then, unfortunately, yes, Cyril Dessers is playing up front today. I think that was always going to be the case. As much as we would love to see Abdallah Seema play through the middle, Philippe Clement did say in his press conference yesterday that he hasn't had a chance to see that yet. He hasn't had the opportunity to actually, see if Seema can play there or use it in training or practice it in training. So I guess it was never going to happen. And given what he said about Kamar Reef not being fit, and not being able to play 90 minutes and not being able to start, I think that does obviously have said that straight away that Ruth is not going to play. So the substitutes today, Robbie McCrory, the sub-goalkeeper, Ridvan and Goldson. Like I said, like we said in the live chat by Galland, it must be Goldson rested, not taking any risks with him for Thursday. Lammers is on the bench. Hopefully that's where he stays. No doubt using his GHDs to get his hair nice and straight. Sterling is on the bench. Roof is on the bench. Davies, King, and McCausland. Couple of interesting things from that bench for me that I'm going to pick out straight away is, number one, is the lack of any central midfielders on the bench. There is no central midfielders on the bench. Obviously, with Lawrence out, with Raskin out, and with Ryan Jack out, it leaves us desperately short of central midfield options. However, there's two questions that, for me, rise straight out of that sub-bench, and that is this. Why is Bailey Rice not getting an opportunity to play? Why is Bailey not on the bench? You know, Bailey, look, say what you want about Michael Beale, and he was an absolute idiot. But why was Bailey Rice on the bench when Beale was the manager, but he's failing to get on the bench now? That's a question I would love to know. What has Bailey Rice got to do to get onto the bench, especially given our lack of options in that central midfield area? And secondly, given the manager's comments this week about Kieran Dowell, he stated in his in that press conference that Kieran had been working hard, working to the maximum, putting in the biggest amount of effort, but still can't make the bench. So the question has to be asked: why is it then that he can't even get a place on the bench now? He's not injured, so why is it Dowell is not getting on the bench? And it looks like to me. It really does look like to me it is coming towards the end of Dowell's time at the club, and it does look like those rumours about Dowell being told to find a new club in January are coming increasingly true. Let's have a look at your comments in the live chat before we reflect back on this team again for today's game. I wonder if Beale got a couple of backhanders off the Italian teams to buy scammers and deserts off them. Interesting comment there from Ewan. Ewan, I don't know, buddy. I don't know, mate. I'm not sure. Gallant says Dundee should not trouble us regardless of who we play. It's true, Gallant. And look, with the exception of that lot across the city, there's none of the teams in this league should be a real hard game for us, realistically. Not with the budget we've got, not with the players we've got. And I know some of our players are crap, but they're still better than the crap other teams have got. Stuart says, see if we don't win the cup this next week. It just shows when the pressure is on, these players crumble. Stuart, that's the point I've been making. It's the point I made in this morning's video. It's the point I will go on making this week. This is a massive test, not for our manager, not for our fans, not for anyone else, but our players. That if they cannot deal with this week with 3 big games today to put the pressure on that lot from across the city, Thursday to qualify for the knockout stages of the Europa League, and Sunday to put the first bit of silverware into the cupboard for this season. If they fail in those 3 games, or fail in 2 of those 3 games, the Betis game and the Aberdeen game, then yes, it does raise massive questions over a lot of the players who have been here a long time, the serial bottle jobs, as they've been termed by a lot of people, the Tavs, the Goldsons, the Jacks, those guys who have been here, Barisic's, that have been here for a long time and have let the club down in recent years when they've been needed. Ewan says, that comment we've had. Dessa's hat-trick coming up. A Christmas miracle might happen. You never know. Well, Bob, I'm just looking out the window. The sun is now shining here in the Midlands, and I can think, yeah, there it is. The flight of pigs has gone over, Bob. The pig flight has gone over, so you never know, Bob. You never know. Gallant says, Des has been our striker up front at Parkhead. He's giving me the fear, though. Gallant, it's going to give me sleepless nights, buddy. It's going to give me the sleepless nights, my friend. Bob says, Rice should have been on the bench for me at least. Me too, I agree, Bob. I'd love to know what the situation is with Bailey Rice. I would really like one of the fan media guys, one of the Joshua Barrys, Stevie Cliffords, the guys brave, David Edgars, the guys who are brave enough to ask those questions of the managers. One thing I've kind of noted from watching press conferences and listening to press conferences over recent weeks is the only guys who seem to ask any difficult questions are the likes of Stevie and David and Joshua Barry and Chris Jack. It's not the written media guys and it's not the TV media guys. It is the fan media guys who ask the difficult questions. And look, rest assured, guys, if I ever get press access to Ibrox, once I get this channel bigger, my aim is to get to 5K and then apply for press access to the club. But that's a little while off yet. We're not even at 4K yet. We do want to get to 4K by 31st December. So if you're watching this and you haven't previously done so, please hit the sub, guys. It's free. We just need to support who he puts on the park. Robert, you are correct, and we will do that. We always do that. It's just that certain players will frustrate us, won't they? For me, the cup win is a must, says Ian. Absolutely for me too, Ian. 100% the must. Football is a funny game. We are worse this season than we were last season, yet you could have had a trophy in the cabinet next Sunday. I agree. We are worse than last season. We have worse players. I remember when Lundstrom had a beef with Stevie Clifford a few months back when he asked him about his contract. Lundstrom was raging. He was gallant, but that's what I said. Stevie and David and those guys are the only guys who seem brave enough to ask the questions that that we're kind of thinking, and the written media and the TV media don't want to ask. Lucky Ewan, it's pissing with rain up here, is it, Ewan? It's pretty. Like I said, it did rain all morning, Ewan. I was absolutely soaked when I went out with the dog earlier. Cup win may be the best we get this season. I can live with that. Big Phil is here for the long haul. Absolutely. Big Phil is here for the long. We've got to back Phil. We've got to give him the opportunity. And I think, the club is kind of trying to reform itself and move itself forward, with the departure of John Park this week, with the appointment of Niels Koppen, as well as Director of Football Recruitment. I think there is a move to really move the club forward there. David and Stevie are legends. Yeah, they are. I've got to say something about David Edgar, though, right? So on this channel, I've had Caroline Morrison, I've had David Marshall, I've had Marina Ballantyne, Grant's, I can't remember his second name now. Martin Ramsey was going to come on, but then when the game got shifted, he couldn't come on. I've got to say, David Edgar has been fantastic. The support that Heart and Hand have given me and this pod has been fantastic. Heart and Hand are amazing. The support they give to other Rangers pods is brilliant. And if I ever message David Edgar or ask David a question, he always gets back to me, if not the same day, at least within a couple of days, and gives me an answer to what I ask. So look, at the end of the day, I absolutely love him. I think David Edgar is brilliant. Yes. And David, if you're watching, I don't know if you do watch this, thank you so much for the support you've given this channel. It really does mean a lot. Nicholas Stubborn says, what question would you ask then, Aaron? Well, one of the questions I would ask Nicholas about the current team is, where is Bailey Rice in the pecking order, and what does Bailey have to do to get in consideration for the matchday squad? Was something I'd want to ask. I'd also ask a question as well about what work has been done at the training ground around sorting out players' mental attitudes and around training them mentally to deal with tough situations as well, given the fact that at times in games where the pressure is on, they have not perhaps played to the fullest of their potential. Trying to be diplomatic there. Obviously, you can't say to Philippe Clement, why are the team been a bunch of bottle jobs? I'd, of course, have to sit down and think and write these questions out, Nicholas. This is coming off the top of my head now. But the Bailey Rice question is one I'd love to ask. I can listen to David. I love David. Like I said, I love David. David, my other big hero, guys, in the Rangers podcast world is CJ Novo. Love CJ Novo. That's everything I aspire to be. I want to be CJ Novo one day. Well, like CJ Novo. I don't want to actually be CJ Novo. That's so good to hear, Aaron. Thank you very much, Gallant. Geordie says, thoughts on the potential of Morelos coming back in January? I honestly think, if I'm being honest, I think it's lazy journalism. I think it's a lazy journalism. I don't think there's any chance of him coming back in January. I think the story has kind of blown up a bit because Rangers strikers are struggling to score goals. The recruitment hasn't been great. Morelos was someone that when he was here and when he was on form, was idolized, wasn't he? Just to a degree, until he kind of lost the plot a little bit. And he's obviously now out of contract. Rangers need a striker. I do think it's lazy. Lazy routine. I think it's lazy journalism. I don't think there's any truth in it whatsoever. Ian says 4-0 to have pens. We don't need 4 pens, Ian. Just 1 penalty is enough to make Scottish football explode, even if it is a case of the fact that it is a genuine penalty. Even when it's a genuine penalty, they kind of lose the plot, don't they? And it's absolutely ridiculous as well. No, definitely not. And I loved Alfie, absolutely. Panto season if everybody thinks Buffalo is coming back. Nicholas says, need our midfielders to pitch in with more goals. Nicholas, that is a great shout, buddy. We do need this midfield to start putting some balls in the back of the net. And we need it to stop just being Abdallah Sima. Guys, that's the case. We do need to stop it being Abdallah Sima. Like I always say, guys, if you can, smash the like for me with 41 watching at the moment. Also, guys, as well, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, smash that sub for me. Helps the channel to grow. And obviously, come and join me for the live stream this afternoon. So just to recap the team for those of you who've just joined us, the team for this afternoon is Jack Butland in goal. Back four of Tavernier, Suter, Balogun and Barisic. Like I said, I think Borner's in because he's the only left back going to be able to play Thursday. Lunny and Sifu in front of the back four. Cantwell, Matondo and Sima are the players behind. Obviously, Ross McCausland been rested. I think that was always going to be the case. Philippe did talk about the fact that he needs to manage Ross McCausland's minutes. And I think we'd like to see Ross on Thursday night. Certainly not here. I think he might make an appearance from the bench, though. And then, obviously, unfortunately, yes, Cyril Dessers is up front because, as Philippe said on his press conference yesterday, he hasn't seen Seema play up front, hasn't tried it in training, and Kamaru is not fit enough to start, which does, of course, beg the question, why the bloody hell is he on the bench? McCrory is one of your subs there, straight away in there. Goldson is a sub. Devine is a sub. Lammers, Sterling, Roof, Davies, King, and McCausland. It is an interesting bench. No central midfielders on the bench. And like I said earlier, what does Bailey Rice have to do to get into the squad? Something I would love to know. Let's go back through the comments quickly. Gallant says, I don't like silly repeated questions about injuries in yesterday's press. Yes, Gallant, that was a good, and neither did. And as I said on the video this morning, that's what made Philippe angry. He did seem to be getting angry with the press yesterday and saying things like, as I explained 5 minutes ago, as I explained 10 minutes ago, I want to talk about fit players. I want to talk about the fit players. Very bad French accent there. If Morelos is free now, surely he can be signed right now. Well, yeah, theoretically, free agents can be signed right now. Matondo to get a goal today. Bob, I really hope he does. It'd be great to see that. Ian says, Shankland is a must. Ian, that's a controversial one. It seems to very much divide the fan base. It does seem to very much divide the fan base. Those who are pro and those who are anti Shankland. There's arguments for him, certainly. I think he would score goals for us. The arguments against him, obviously. He's 28. He's got no resale value. How much a Heart's going to want for him? Probably silly money because it's us asking. I think if a club from down south came in, it would be about 1 to 2 million. If it's us, it's probably going to be 4 or 5 million. We all know what Hearts and Aberdeen as well are like. Bring back the 21-22 league. Lundstrom, man, was an absolute beast. Feels like he's just lost all confidence in himself, says Geordie. Look, I hope that it is a case that he's getting back to the player that he used to be, Geordie, because for me, he seems like a new player under Philippe Clement. Clement, I think, has given him leadership responsibility, has given him opportunities to succeed. And for me, it's good, isn't it? I think that's the case. All right, Owen, on my way home from work, hopefully to see some of the game. Hope you get back, John. Hope you get back. Big Phil owns the press. He does. He doesn't take any shit from them, does he? What's your opinion on Morelos returning, Owen? I think it would be a waste of time and exactly showing. I personally wouldn't bring him back. I think I would certainly see that to be the case. I do think that given how he was last year, given the Alfie we still see, I just can't see him being compatible with Philippe Clement and the way Philippe Clement likes to work, Scallon. So personally, I don't think it's a goer. I do think it's lazy journalism. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think last season we saw the worst of Morelos, and there's always that worry that we're going to see the worst of Morelos again. It's just the way it is, guys. It's just the way it is. Big Lunny, some fans had him. Yeah, I got on his back here, and I'll fully admit that. And I was wrong. I think, he's again another player that very much divides the opinion. I like Lundstrom, but I'm still angry at the fact he was posted missing for such a long time. I think that's the problem, isn't it? Lundstrom was a player who went missing, was a player who, for me, let us down at times. And last year played very badly, gave the ball away a lot. Look, that's just the way it is, guys. That's just the way it is. It's been reported by the media outlet Ofuta Belblero. Morales is earning £138,000 a month. Bloody hell, if he's earning that, Kevin, there's no chance of him coming back here. Celtic fans would laugh at us if we brought him back, brutally honest. I think you're right there, Gallant, 100%. Robert's going for 5-0 and good football. Robert, I pray that's the case today, buddy. I really do pray that is the case today. I would hope that Big Phil had better players than Shankland on his radar, says Nicholas. Look, I think it's a good shout. We don't know what Clement's got on his radar. He did say yesterday, didn't he, in his presser, that he is going to bring in a striker in January. We know that there's work already ongoing around that. He did say, apparently one of the select reasons why Niels Koppen was selected as the preferred candidate for director of football recruitment was because they wanted someone who had that broad experience of scouting all across the world. Apparently, what I heard this morning was they did interview people whose expertise was in the British market, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and they wanted people who had a more broader experience than that, people who had an experience of looking at players from all across the world, because there is bargains to be had out there. There are players playing in South America, in Africa, in Asia, who are not going to cost what the players from down south cost, or the players from Spain and Portugal and Holland cost. European prices are artificially high. If you go to an English Premier League club for an average striker, you are looking at anything between £8 and £15 million. You've just got to look at some of the players that have moved this year in the Championship to see that is the case. Whereas you can probably go to South America, pick up a striker for £2-3 million, and he could be quite decent. And again, that's a saleable asset for the long term. And I think that's why they've gone down the Niels Koppen route and going forward. Bob says, Morales hasn't left Santos yet. I think he would be a fool if he does. He might not be able to find another club. Exactly. Look at how long it took him, Bob, to actually find another club. Jason in Thailand says it's time for Jose Cifuentes to step up. I agree. So, Jose, I thought he looked better, guys. I thought he looked better on Wednesday night when he came on. Hopefully, he can continue that run of form today. Ian says, Big Phil's go to on the pitch. It's not Tav, it's Lunny. Very true, Ian. I think it is becoming him. You think Niels Koppen has a strike up his sleeve for us? John, I hope he does have a striker up his sleeve. He wants to bring Noah Lang from PSV. Feel free. Apparently had a clause in his contract, Bob. If Santos got relegated, he was a free agent. Well, there we go. He only played 70 minutes overall for Santos and didn't score any goals. That's pretty poor, isn't it? No McCausland, but Dessa starts. Really, says Gordon Turnbull. I think he's managing McCausland's minutes, Gordon. And like I said, I just think that because and I'm not saying this is right, and it's not saying what I would have done, because I wouldn't. I would have started Seema. I think he's the only striker they've got. So there's literally no other choices. I know we had a release clause, but as far as I'm concerned, he's still officially a Santos player. To be honest, Gordon, Dessers should be enough to dispatch Dundee, says Gallant. We've got to hope so. Once we hump the molester mob, we're on our way. Follow, follow, says Robert. Yeah, hopefully we can hump the molester mob from across the city. Guys, it is going to be a game today that I need to see a performance today. We need to see a performance. We've got to see a performance today. We've got to see them go out there and play a 90-minute game, put Dundee to the sword, and sort of send a signal. I think today is twofold. I'm just reading a comment from Ian. What we've got to see is twofold. Number one, win the game, put the pressure on them. Two, put in a performance, put the pressure on them. Let them know we're coming behind them. Because I'll tell you something, although Celtic are probably like that, let them know we're coming behind them, because at the end of the day, that's going to start to put pressure on them. And they haven't had that pressure for a good few seasons now. So that's what we need to do. PCB resting players of Thursday's game in mind. It's Dundee after all, and we are worried about Dundee. Then we're in trouble, says Kevin. We shouldn't be worried about Dundee. I agree. Sam Lammers should be outside Ibrox selling match programs. He'll probably drop it, mate. He'll probably drop it. What team does Pucker Pie sponsor? That's who Alfie will sign for. Absolutely. We need 3 points. Gallant's probably laughing at my comment about Celtic liking it from behind. What's the team for today? Let's quickly bring the team back up. Here we go. The team is as follows. Just to quickly recap that team for you. Butland in goal, back four, Tavernier, Suter, Balogun and Barisic. Goldson probably been rested with Thursday in mind and Sunday in mind. Lundstram and Cifuentes are the holders because seriously there is no other options there with the injuries and the fact that Bailey Rice isn't involved. Three behind the striker, Matondo, Cantwell and Seema. Looks like Matondo and Seema out wide, bringing the pace, which is good against the low block. And then Dessers up front with the bench, McCrory, Devine, Goldson, Lammers, Sterling, Roof is on fire. Davies, King, and McCausland. Don't worry, guys, I'm not going to sing. Absolutely. Bob says Lammers or Sammers, as he's known on JPA's channel, should be nowhere near our first team or even our B team for that matter. I agree, Bob. Absolutely. Good shout. Carl should have given Sterling a start. That's because he would say, look, I just think Kyle at the moment with Tav, he's going to play every game. He's not going to be dropped. He's not going to be not started at this moment in time. I think come the summer, there could be change. I really do. Come the summer, when Philippe Clement has a chance to really overhaul the team and put his own stamp on this team, then, yeah, I think there is a possibility we could see a change in that and a change in captaincy and a change in perhaps who plays right back. But I don't think that Philippe Clement is wholly happy with his right back options behind all I do is sit and slag off our players. Is that right, Timothy? That's what I do, is I? So when I say that Seema's a fantastic finisher, when I say about Jack Butland being the best goalkeeper in Britain, when I talk about positively about Ridvan, when I talk about Cantwell being one of the best 10s we've got, when I talk about how good Matondo is, I'm slagging off the team. I'm like, yeah, whatever, Timothy, whatever, buddy. You carry on that. You go back to Parkhead where you belong, buddy. Timothy, go back to Parkhead. Agree, Carl. Surely this is the match to give Tav a rest. I mean, I think he is getting older. That's the problem, you know. Scammers or shammers. Love your pod, Owen. Love your Rangers. Your love of Rangers is tangible, says Ian. I do love Rangers. Read somewhere Kevin Van Veen is coming in. He's 32. So, you know, if the argument for not bringing in Shanklin is that he's 28 and he's not a saleable asset, where's the argument for Van Veen is the question I would ask. Tav is captain. It's very rare to see a captain not start. Good answer. Timothy, who stopped slagging me off now, has said Dessers Tav in the last 2 minutes. I don't want that, Timothy, today. I want us to win from the outset. I want us to put in the performance from minute one today. A fast start, a quick start, get into them and get after them as early as possible. Prediction for today, guys, I'm going 4-0 Rangers. 4-0 to us. Goals from Cantwell, Seema, Tav penalty, and because we love a penalty, don't we? We love a penalty. And I think Matondo will also get a goal as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Timothy's calling me a cheeky bastard. Nonsense, Timothy. It's a podcast. It's open debate, but put your opinions in the comments. Scallard, big legend. Haitley came good. He did, Robert. You never know. You never know. It could be today, guys. Apparently hell is going to freeze over. Yeah, I do tell it. I am, buddy. Ian, there's one thing I always pride myself on is I won't say something that I wouldn't dare say to someone's face. I've always been like that, straight up and honest. If I think you're an idiot, I'll tell you you're an idiot. If I think you're a knob, I'll tell you you're a knob. If I think you're amazing, I'll tell you you're amazing. So look, at the end of the day, that's the way I am, buddy. Winning goals in the last 2 minutes will be very bad for my heart. Mine too. Mine too, buddy. James Quinn, all right, team? All right, James, how you doing, buddy? Thank you very much. 61 people watching. Guys, can we please smash that sub? And obviously, if you've not yet done so, obviously smash the like for helping out the channel as well. If PC can get Dessers and Lammers firing, then sell them as soon as possible. Hopefully. Apparently, Liverpool have just scored a 90th minute winner against Palace. I think they're very much in the title race down in England, aren't they? Hopefully, we don't have a 90th minute winner. Hopefully, the game is done, dusted, and dead by the 90th minute. Well, guys, I'm off to go and prep for the live stream. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me for the team reveal. As always, guys, 2 things I need from you on the way out today. Number 1, smash that like. And number 2, never, ever forget, we are the people.